So Buffalo beat Detroit, and there's a lot to say about this game, but let me just start by saying this. I started watching football in 1972. I was a little kid, and I watched the first, and on a black and white TV, I watched the Washington Redskins lose to the Miami Dolphins in a Super Bowl. That's the first game I remember watching. I loved the NBA, the Portland Trail Blazers in the early 70s, and that was the first NFL game I remember watching. And then I became like a Washington Husky fan, and I remember for Robin Earl and Warren Moon and blah, blah, blah. You don't care. But Josh Allen's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. I'll die on that hill. Don't confuse trophies with talent. Brady's got more trophies than Mahomes. Patrick's more talented. I always thought John Elway was like the greatest athlete. Remember, he was going to play either for the Yankees or the NFL. The greatest athlete to play quarterback. Compared to Josh Allen, John Elway looks small and lumbering. The kid's unbelievable. I've never seen a quarterback this good. I mean, size, arm, mobility, A++++. It's a little LeBron in his prime. It's a little Ohtani. It's a little Tiger, where you can put the best athletes in the world out there, and he's a notch above that. And I mean, once Buffalo finally got a legit running back so he could take the Superman cape off occasionally, he doesn't have any kryptonite. I mean, since entering the NFL, he has the second most rushing touchdowns. He's a quarterback. He has the second most rushing touchdowns. You know who number one is? A running back, Derrick Henry. I mean, Buffalo has allowed 86 points in the last 2 weeks. And my take is, yeah, so what? They'll get to the Super Bowl. Because Josh Allen in that time has 10 touchdowns. I worry about their defense. They are getting some starters back. But I'm watching Mahomes, who's obviously so gifted, limping around. They can't protect him. And I'm saying, God, he is so vulnerable, this team. Josh Allen has not taken a sack in a month. Good luck getting a hold of him. It's week 15. He looks as fresh as newly cut flowers. Big, strong, arm, moving. You can't get to him now. You should be able to. There's enough to grab onto, but you can't sack him. So I feel like I've always said there's one athlete in my life that I didn't get to see perform, Sandy Koufax. Like one athlete, I feel like I kind of got gypped off. I was born too late. We're all lucky we were born in a time you can watch Josh Allen, because I've never seen anything like it. Again, they're missing 3 defensive starters. It's not Purdy on the defensive end, but remember that saying, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. You remember that? Were they talking about Superman or Josh Allen? Because as good as Mahomes is, he's not this. And I love him. And as good as Brady was, he's not Mahomes. That's the best I've ever seen. For years, I thought it was Elway. Even Sean McDermott. You just run. Sean McDermott gets to see him at practice every day, and he's at a loss for words.
I mean, just incredible performance week after week. And what more can you say? I mean, we're watching every week. We're watching an incredible player play incredibly consistent week after week. And I'll let you guys fill in the rest of the sentence.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So we can finally now rest this nonsense about Josh Allen not being the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, in a game against the Lions and the Rams, where Josh Allen does this, Brady becomes the first player in NFL history with 45 or more passing and rushing touchdowns in 4 consecutive seasons. He's the first quarterback since the 40s to have back-to-back 2-touchdown passing, 2-touchdown rushing in games. I mean, it's just what he's done in just these last 2 games alone is insane. 23 for 34, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing, a 122 rating, 10 carries for 69 yards. I mean, he's just an absolute monster. An absolute monster. And this game's 48-42. And that's why when we look at the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes versus, the Browns He's 19 for 38, 159 yards, 4 yards per attempt, and a 78 rating in a game where the Browns had 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers, and all they could do is muster up 21 points. Guys, there's just levels to this. And that's why just automatically saying, oh, how many rings does so-and-so have? It's just the lowest form of argument when trying to figure out who's the best. It is. It's just the lowest form of argument. How many MVPs? Someone tried to tell me Josh Allen's not even top 10 quarterback. He's not top 10. And look at any of the statistical categories. And I was like, oh, my God. What? I was like, I can't even dignify this with a response because it's so absurd. It's such a trolling comment. But I mean, to march into Detroit and do what they were able to do, I mean, it was just a dominant display. It really, really was. And this score is not really, I know it says it's 48-42, but that's hardly what the game was. The Bills were the better team, head and shoulders better. That much is very, very, very obvious. And again, be my guest, go blame all the injuries on the Lions defense. There was plenty of other teams that faced that injured Lions defense and did not do what Josh Allen did. Okay? Not to mention, an injured Lions defense team is going to be better than some of these other defenses with starters that other teams can't even remotely go up against. So if you want to use that as an excuse, again, by all means, go ahead. For the Lions fans, I understand why, like, that. It's obviously going to hurt your team, undeniable, but the offense couldn't even do it much. Again, I know the stats are going to make it look that way, but this game, it was just clear. There's just different levels to this. There really, really is. I mean, Josh Allen just had highlight reel after highlight reel after highlight reel. I mean, that one scramble and then what was like a 50-yard dart down the field. I mean, it was just insane. The first 4 possessions was 3 touchdowns. Forcing a 3-and-out for Jared Goff and the Lions on defense. I mean, it was like 50 seconds in the game, and the Bills already had the ball and were driving, and and just like that, boom, up 7-0. I mean, it just happened so quickly to do that on the road against the Lions, tied for the best record in the NFL. I mean, that just sends such a huge message. Then the second drive, another touchdown. I mean, like it felt easy almost because of everything that they were able to do. I mean, it was just the scramble throw to Coleman was just one of the most beautiful things I've honestly ever seen. It just continues to be play after play that you're just like, oh my God. Because in an era where it feels like even backup quarterbacks are kind of scrambling around and throwing balls down the field, Spencer Rattler and stuff like that, you kind of be like, okay, well, if other quarterbacks can do this as well, what makes this special? One, of course, it's the consistency. It's the ability to consistently do it game after game after game. And then add the other layers to the game of being able to barrel through defenders, run away from defenders, to do it in huge key, gotta have it moments, to then also throw beautiful passes from the pocket, to work from within the pocket, to be an elite playmaker within the pocket, out of the pocket, down the field, short, long. I mean, there's just nothing Josh Allen can't do. And when I make a statement like that, you have the haters jump in and say, you can't win a Super Bowl. And it's just like, what are people complaining about right now with the Kansas City Chiefs? As soon as Josh Allen had this game, a bunch of Kansas City Chiefs fans took to the comment section and they're like, Josh Allen has more help. Josh Allen has a better O-line. It's like, I thought Patrick Mahomes doesn't need anything. Like again, if you're blaming the lack of success right now and the lack of production from the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes on the O-line and some offensive weapons, then you have to give a tremendous amount of the praise for why they've been successful and have won games when Patrick Mahomes puts up good numbers to the O-line, to the offensive run game, to the run game, to the other offensive weapons, to Kelsey, to Reed, to et cetera, to the defense. That's where we have these backwards conversations again and again and again. You want to give Patrick Mahomes all the praise when things are going well, take it away from him or defend him and when he's playing poorly. And then when other people try to do similar things to Josh Allen, you try to rip it. Except the difference is that Josh Allen throughout his years has not had a Travis Kelce or an Andy Reid to fall back on, or an elite defense, top 1 defense in the NFL when it mattered most. Because you'll say, oh, well, he had a good defense in 2020, whatever. And it's like, yeah, and his offense was a disaster with a terrible fired coordinator. Like, that is the difference in what the Kansas City Chiefs have been able to accomplish. Because they've had Andy and Spags together. So when the defense was lacking, the offense was going to be the best. When the offense was lacking, the defense was going to be the best. But still have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to be situational. And still have Kelce to rely on. Rashee Rice to rely on. Pacheco to rely on. Some of those pieces, because then they're saying, oh, who did they have? Rice and Pacheco? Who are those guys? And then when those guys are injured this year, you go, well, what do you want them to do? They don't have Rice or Pacheco. And it's like, I thought you told me that those guys were a bunch of scrubs. If those guys were a bunch of scrubs, you could replace them with anyone. So no matter how we want to slice it, no matter what made-up scenarios we want to keep making up, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL. He is the greatest talent of all time. It is insane. I've never seen anything like it. And no, I'm not as old as Colin. But if you want to fall into this trap where you just want to count rings, again, this is what I always say to Patrick Mahomes fans. Well, then Mahomes better win a ton of rings, man. He better win a ton of rings. And they already try to make this stuff up where they say, well, you don't need to have like 7 or 8 rings to be the GOAT. I think in order to be the GOAT, this is what they said in this offseason. This was a conversation with like Brew and Nick, right? They're like, you need to have like 4 or 5 rings. And it's like, well, then that logic actually doesn't make sense. That actually doesn't make sense. Because you're either saying rings matter or they don't. If your reason why one quarterback is better than the other because one quarterback has 3 rings and the other quarterback has 1 rings, but then you apparently, once you reach a certain level where if you get 4 or 5 rings, now you no longer need as many rings as someone like a Tom Brady, like that doesn't actually make sense. That's literally like saying 1 + 1 = 2, and technically 10 + 2 = 12, but I don't know. Once we get to the 10s, 11s, and 12s, like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's, if we want to say 10 + 2 = 102, then skippity-doo. So we can stop with the nonsense. We can stop with the nonsense, and we can use our eyes. We can use what we see. Right now, if you were to have the NFL draft and pick a player, you would pick Josh Allen. And it's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even, well, what about this? But no. Josh Allen is bigger, stronger, faster, better. Throws a better ball. Can carry a team. It's not even close. It's not even close. And if you're a Buffalo Bills fan this year, and the Bills don't reach the Super Bowl at a minimum, oh my God, you got to protest. You got to protest. You don't show up to a single game next year. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's just like, this is it right here. You got the best quarterback in the NFL. You have a literal all-time great. Because when other people want to talk about, they said, Josh Allen will be compared to some of these other quarterbacks who were never able to win it over the years. Like Phillip Rivers. Right. Josh Allen is now Phillip Rivers. We have such brain dead takes around Josh Allen. It's insane. And then people will come at me and be like, oh, you're so biased. You have this obsession with Josh Allen. Okay. Yeah, I have an obsession with Josh Allen because I'm praising a literal all-time great in this moment. I mean, like it's really comically hilarious at this point. It is, because Patrick Mahomes had all that praise early on in his career, rightfully so, 1,000% rightfully so. I did it myself included. I just didn't have a channel. But now Josh Allen has taken over. He has taken the crown. It's that simple. He has taken the crown. Especially the last Super Bowl run. Last year was not because of Patrick Mahomes' greatness. It just was not. It just was not. And this year, why the Chiefs are even remotely in it, It's not. I'm not telling you that Patrick Mahomes is holding back the Kansas City Chiefs. But if Josh Allen was on the Chiefs, they'd be. You can't deny it. And do you really believe that Patrick Mahomes would make the Buffalo Bills better now? The answer is no. And now Patrick Mahomes keep getting hobbled, essentially like 3 years in a row where he's getting kind of banged up like this. It's just more proof. Honestly, like if you are a Patrick Mahomes fan and a Patrick Mahomes GOAT truther, you better hope that he wins this. And act like the three-peat's like the greatest accomplishment in the history of the NFL. That's revisionist history, number one. But number two, he is not playing until he's 45. He's just not. And he knows it. He's already technically older. He's not 26 years old here. And the division's only getting harder. The NFL is only going to get harder. Someone also said in the comment section, oh, if they win three-peat, they run a chance at history. It'll never happen again. Of course it will. If the Chiefs get a three-peat, it'll happen again. Anytime we see what's possible, it will happen again. Do you think Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady are it? These are the best quarterbacks we'll ever see for the rest of our lives? No other quarterback will surpass these quarterbacks? Of course they will. I just went on a whole rant about how I think Josh Allen's the best. And you know what? 10, 15, 20 years from now, maybe even less, someone will surpass him. People thought Michael Jordan was it. No one better. Well, LeBron James came around. LeBron James is it. No one will be better. Now we got, Wembanyama. Of course, these guys always get passed. Always. No one will ever break Roger Maris's record. Okay, well, they were using performance enhancers. No one will ever do. Oh, never mind. No one will ever be able to pitch and hit like Babe Ruth. Ohtani, some random Japanese guy. This is how it happens. So if you want to hang on some of these other historical things as a frame of reference as to why someone is the best, it's not going to stand. It never does. I love when people in the media or fans would ever say, we'll never see this again. Every time I hear that, that makes me cringe. You don't think we'll ever see it again? We'll never see another player as great as Mahomes or Josh Allen or LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Of course we will. If something is if something is in the realm of a possibility, then it's just a matter of time. As we already see right now, Patrick Mahomes' reign as being the best quarterback in the NFL is already over. And everyone thought that was going to last for the next 15 years. People are already saying, can you imagine if he maintains this until he's 45? They're going to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl every single... You have Kansas City Chiefs fans that truly believe that he's winning the Super Bowl every single year for the next 10 years. That's the delusion that we've reached. Josh Allen's best quarterback in the NFL. He's one of the greatest of all time. The most talented of all time. And the Buffalo Bills are for real. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills? Do you think Josh can finally lead the Bills to a Super Bowl team? I even resent that way how that question is phrased. He has led his team. His team has failed him. What do you want him to do? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.